Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our Taiwan unit as we kick off the month of July, and we're going to go down to美濃in Kaohsiung. And, of course, when we talk about美濃, most people think about Hakka culture and those wonderful oil paper umbrellas.
They're beautiful. I honestly thought that they were just for decoration, and then I read more about them, and I thought, oh, you can actually use them. But they're so pretty, I don't think I would actually use them. I would just put them up in my apartment. They're so gorgeous.
I don't think anybody would use them as actual umbrellas.
It says here they're practical.
I've never seen them, but that doesn't mean no one is doing it.
Yeah, maybe the Hakka are out in the fields with them or something.
Could be, but yeah, these are kind of expensive. They're more expensive than regular umbrellas.
Yes.
So I don't think people would be taking an expensive umbrella out during a typhoon or something like that.
No.
But we're going to talk about this traditional Hakka craft, the oil paper umbrella. We're talking about the rise, fall, and rebirth of a traditional Hakka craft. So let's find out what this is all about. Let's dive right in and read the entire contents of our article now one time.
Though Taiwan is a small country, it is full of art and culture. One of its representative crafts is the oil paper umbrella, which is both practical and beautiful. These umbrellas have been made in美濃for almost a century by the Hakka people who lived there. One characteristic of the oiled paper used to construct umbrellas in the past was that it repelled water well. As a consequence, the Hakka, unlike most Han Chinese, find it acceptable to give umbrellas as gifts. The umbrella is a literal and symbolic shelter. There are also reasons based on the Hakka pronunciation of oil paper umbrella. To start, the word oil paper sounds like have sons. What's more, the character for umbrella, san, includes 5 of the radical meaning person, ren. When these elements are taken together, an oil paper umbrella thus conveys wishes for a large family and is therefore a gift worth cherishing. The oil paper umbrella workshops of美濃flourished until the 1960s. At that point, the Taiwanese umbrella industry shifted to the mass production of plastic umbrellas. However, in 1984, traditional umbrellas received a popularity boost from the TV show The Stars Know My Heart, which took place near美濃and featured an oil paper umbrella workshop. Since then, they have remained firmly in the public eye as cultural treasures and works of art.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's talk about the contents of our lesson for today. Now, we are talking about the rise, the fall, and the rebirth of a traditional Hakka craft. Oftentimes, when we talk about events in history, we talk about the rise of something, the rise and fall of Nazi Germany, for example. They came to power, and then they went out of power. They were destroyed. But here we've got a rebirth. Something is coming back again.
Yeah, as soon as you say the rise and fall, you automatically think of a title of a book of history in English, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which, as Tom just mentioned, is the Nazis in Nazi Germany. The rise and fall. So when something becomes popular, of course, there's a rise in its popularity. And when its popularity falls, fewer and fewer people are interested in it. Now, if you're talking about a country or a civilization, when that civilization falls, it means they no longer exist. So it's kind of the ruin of something as well. But here we're talking about a really great traditional Hakka craft. A craft is like arts and crafts that we produce with our hands. Usually with traditional crafts, it takes a lot of time to get very proficient or very good at it. You have to work and work at it. And again, these crafts are usually made by hand, and so they're extra special to us. This is a traditional thing that the Hakka people have perfected. So let's talk about kind of its history and its return to popularity as well.
Okay, so let's take a look at the first paragraph here. It says, though Taiwan is a small country, even though it's a small place, it is full of art and culture. Yes, Taiwan is quite small, but there are lots of things to see and do here. And of course, it's full of art and culture, from the Aborigines to the Taiwanese to the Hakka to the people from mainland China. Of course, we've got all sorts of different aspects of art and culture. And one of its representative crafts, from Taiwan, is the oil paper umbrella, which is both practical and beautiful. Practical means you can use it. It's an umbrella. If it rains, you can actually go out in the rain and open it up and hold it up above your head, and you can stay dry.
Which is kind of nice, isn't it? You were mentioning in the open to this program, Tom, that we tend to use regular umbrellas for typhoons, but I wanted to laugh and say, yeah, if there's a typhoon, an umbrella's not going to be very helpful either, even the normal kind. I tend not to use my umbrellas in a typhoon because they just get broken. You know, the wind's so strong. Well, these umbrellas are quite practical, so you can use them to protect you from the rain. But they're also very beautiful. And like I said, I tend to not want to get these kind of beautiful crafts broken or ruined if I take them outside. I tend to take good care of them, and they're used as decoration for me. Now, these umbrellas have been made in the area of美濃for almost a century. Remember, a century is 100 years. And of course, if you know美濃, that area, you know that there are a lot of Hakka people who live there.
Right, there are Hakka who live in美濃and in Pingdong and in Hsinchu and Miaoli, among other places. But of course, yes, these umbrellas are famous down there in美濃. So yeah, if you go down to美濃, you might want to check out a souvenir shop or something like that, or a gift shop or a workshop, and check out the paper umbrellas there. Now let's move on to the next paragraph here. It says, one characteristic of the oiled paper used to construct umbrellas in the past was that it repelled water well. Now, a characteristic is a special quality of something. You might talk about a person's special characteristics, like Elaine. She's got some wonderful characteristics. She's friendly, she's outgoing, she's smart, she's intelligent, etc. Those are her characteristics. So here, a characteristic of an oil paper umbrella is, well, it was made so it could repel water.
If you use this word construct, it just means to build something. We can construct different things. We can construct crafts. If you're in school, especially in elementary school, we had a lot of things that we would construct during art class and then take home and give to our moms and dads. But you can also construct buildings and bridges and many large things as well. So this oil paper was used to construct umbrellas, and it was special. It was a special feature of these particular oil paper umbrellas. So in the past, they liked to use this oil paper or oiled paper because it repelled water well. If you repel something, you kind of push it away. Someone can repel you, meaning they kind of make you, just kind of gross out and, he's repelling me, or he's repulsive. That is the adjective form of that word. But to repel means to push back or to force away from you. If you put two magnets that have different positive and negative sides together, they will often, just kind of force themselves apart. They repel each other. So this particular oiled paper was great because the water would kind of just roll off of it. Almost like you had, for example, a seal. I think water just rolls off their back, correct? Yeah, their skin just kind of rolls off. It's like having a rubber skin or a rubber skin suit. What do you call those? Good wetsuit or something like that. Yeah, that we use if the water's really cold in the ocean. That water just kind of rolls off it. It repels water.
Right. Or, of course, Gore-Tex, or these high-tech fabrics, are designed to repel water, but let moisture from inside evaporate out. But again, these umbrellas are constructed or are made to repel water. Now, as a consequence, as a result of that, the Hakka, unlike most Han Chinese, find it acceptable to give umbrellas as gifts. The umbrella is a literal and symbolic shelter. Now, of course, there are lots of superstitions, I guess you could say, about that the Chinese have, and they're mostly based on the names of things sounding like something else. Like you can't give somebody a clock because it sounds like death. You can't give somebody shoes because they might run away or something like that. And you're not supposed to give people umbrellas because san also sounds like run away or go away, and that's not good. But to the Hakka, no, it's not bad. San is actually good. An umbrella actually provides us with shelter.
Kind of nice. So if it's symbolic, guys, it just represents or stands for something else. Something that's very symbolic of Taipei City, of course, or even Taiwan, is 101. Taipei 101, the building, is a symbol or is symbolic of the country. Everybody recognizes that beautiful building. Now, there are also reasons based on the Hakka pronunciation of oil paper umbrella, and Tom just kind of explained some of the superstitions behind the gift giving here in Taiwan generally. But the Hakka, because of their pronunciation of the word, it's different than the pronunciation in Mandarin. They're not afraid to give each other umbrellas as gifts. It's kind of a cool thing, actually, because again, it represents this shelter and kind of protection for people. Pronunciation, guys, in Taiwan, I constantly hear this word mispronounced. I think people tend to think you say it like you do the noun or the verb to pronounce. But when you see this word pronunciation, you have to remember it's no longer pronunciation. That's incorrect. It's pronunciation. Pronunciation. I even hear Americans mispronounce this sometimes. So pronunciation. Yeah, their pronunciation's a little different than the Mandarin, and so it's not seen as a bad gift to give to their friends.
Right. So what's the pronunciation of this word? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
And I guess there's a phrase in Hakka there for an umbrella. I'm guessing it's 油纸伞, but we'll get to that in just a couple of seconds and talk about the details of that. But right now we're going to take a little bit of a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，我是派老师。今天讲解的是7月份 Unit 1，这是一篇克漏字测验。这篇文章的主题是油纸伞，这是美浓客家庄的一项传统手工艺。请看第一题 These umbrellas have been made in 美浓 for almost a century by the Hakka people who live there. 这一题的4个选项都是 make 这个动词的变化型，是在考时态。我们看到主词是这些伞，后面 for almost a century 将近1世纪以来维持了一段时间的动作，而且持续到现在，我们应该使用现在完成式。所以第一题选 D have been made。这些伞将近1个世纪以来都由居住当地的客家人所制作。接着，请看第二题的题干 One characteristic of the oil paper 空格 to construct umbrellas in the past was that it repelled water well。油纸的一项特点就是防水性能好。这个句子的主要动词是 was， 后面的 that it repelled water well， 这个由 that 所引导的名词子句是主词补语，而在 was 前面这一长串词组是主词，以 one characteristic 开头。这句话主要是说油纸的一项特点就是防水性能好。主词很长，因为 oil paper还有形容词子句修饰 oil paper that was used to construct umbrellas in the past， 省略了关系代名词 that was 恢复成原形 be， 再加上 ing 就是 being， 而 being 可以省略，所以只留下 used。 因此第二题我们选 A used。 接下来第三题 The Hakka unlike most Han Chinese, find it acceptable to give umbrellas as gifts. The umbrella is a literal and symbolic shelter. 有别于其他汉人，客家人能够接受雨伞作为赠礼。伞在字面上和象征意义上都能作为遮蔽、庇护。第三题 选项我们选 A 这个 shelter 就是有遮蔽庇护的意思，其他3个选项的意思分别是 B refugee 难民， C gratitude 感谢， D harmony 和谐。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to continue to talk about美濃 umbrellas, especially the oil paper umbrellas down there in美濃that you can buy as a gift, and you can give it to somebody as a gift if you're Hakka, because they don't have this superstition about giving someone an umbrella. An umbrella is a good thing.
Yeah.
It provides shelter, and it keeps people together, okay? And that's true. You can have protection from the rain if you have an umbrella. Look at the bright side. Don't look at the negative side of things. But in any case here, it's all based on the pronunciation of the term oil paper umbrella in Hakka. And I only know a few words in Hakka, semoy anjang, nihomo, stuff like that. But that's about all I know in Hakka. So I'm guessing here it's you纸伞, which kind of sounds like yozi, to have sons. So that sounds like a good thing. If you give somebody an umbrella, then they will have lots of children.
I wanted to mention here, you'll notice that we use 2 different terms to talk about the umbrella. The first time we see this, we have an oil dash paper. So it's oil paper umbrella. But then we talk about the characteristic of the paper, and we say that it's oiled paper. So if you're talking about the name of that specific traditional Hakka umbrella, it's oil dash paper. And they used to make it with paper that had been oiled, or oil was added to the paper to repel the water from it. So in case you're wondering why we use 2 different ways to talk about that, they're not quite the same. So we talked about some of the characteristics, why they were considered to be practical and beautiful, that they've been around for a long, long time, over 100 years it looks like, and that the Hakka generally don't fear giving these oil paper umbrellas to their friends and family members. They think they're pretty wonderful. The pronunciation of them is different, so it's not quite as superstitious or seen as kind of scary to give as it is in other dialects like Mandarin.
Although there is a way around that. Yeah? If you have this superstition about giving somebody an umbrella, well, just sell it to somebody for $5 NT. Okay? You're not actually giving it to them, you're selling it to them.
Sure.
So, yeah, you won't have to run away or disappear if you actually sell someone that umbrella as
That's
opposed
funny.
to giving it to them. Somebody gave me a pair of shoes once, and he said, but give me 10 NT. So I actually sold them to you and didn't give them to you. So, yeah, we're still friends as a result of that. But in any case here, yes, indeed, it does sound like the phrase to have sons. And what's more, the character for umbrella, san, includes 5 of the radical, meaning person, ren. When we talk about 部首, in English, we call it radical, like 淡水的淡, 有水这边, the radical in 淡水is water. Okay, that's the radical there.
So when these elements or parts of that character are taken together, an oil paper umbrella thus conveys wishes for a large family and is therefore a gift worth cherishing. So if you convey something, we use this word in different ways. Here we're actually using it as a way to communicate. So here it just means it communicates wishes for a large family. But we also have something that we call conveyor belts. You know, if you go to the airport and you go to pick up your luggage, it is going around that carousel on a conveyor belt. So convey means to also transport from one place to another. But here convey does mean to communicate. Can you convey my best wishes for a wonderful life, Tom, to your daughter? I didn't get to see her today. So convey is to communicate here. But again, it also means to move from place to place. I don't know if they do this here, but I have seen little kids in America get up on that conveyor belt at the airport. because they don't understand it's dangerous and they want to play on it because it looks like kind of a merry-go-round.
Right.
Yeah.
I never did that. The first time I saw a conveyor belt at an airport, I was already grown up.
Oh,
because I grew up in the country. The nearest airport was like 2 hours away. But in any case here, yes, if you give somebody an oil paper umbrella as a gift, it conveys or expresses wishes for a large family, and it is therefore a gift worth cherishing. So, yeah, don't be afraid if somebody gives you an oil paper umbrella. Actually, cherish the experience. It actually means something great, although it may not mean something great to modern people because young married couples don't seem to want to have so many kids like our forefathers did. But here in the next paragraph it says, the oil paper umbrella workshops of美濃 flourished until the 1960s. So, yeah, we've got these workshops down in美濃that produced oil paper umbrellas, and then they kind of fell out of favor. So they were quite popular. They did quite well. Business was good until the 1960s, and then something changed. So here we've got flourish. In this particular case, it means business is good.
Yeah, to fall out of favor is a phrase Tom just used. You could also say they went out of style. They were no longer in fashion. And so people weren't going and, taking a workshop on how to make these. Or maybe they even had workshops that you could, design a special pattern on your paper umbrella. It sounds really fun, actually, to me. Now, at that point, back in the 1960s, the Taiwanese umbrella industry shifted or moved to the mass production of plastic umbrellas. Mass production means these things were produced in a factory in large quantities. A lot of plastic umbrellas were then being made instead. With crafts, they're produced more slowly and with a lot of care. Factories don't produce many beautiful handicrafts. So in 1984, though, things changed and traditional umbrellas received a popularity boost from a TV show that some of you might have heard of, The Stars Know My Heart. Popularity is how popular you are among people, how many of the people out there actually like you or admire you or watch you, your popularity. And this is the noun form of the adjective popular. Oh, he's very popular. Have you been watching that really popular show called blah, blah, blah? So the umbrellas actually came back into style because they were seeing them on this show called The Stars Know My Heart. And that show actually took place near美濃and featured an oil paper umbrella workshop. So, sometimes the younger generation just never has been exposed to things, and then they watch a TV show and they think, well, this is cool. Let's bring this back in style.
I have a feeling reruns of that TV show are available online somewhere. So if you want to check it out, maybe there's a YouTube video that shows this program, The Stars Know My Heart, and maybe you will get crazy about oil paper umbrellas and you'll get on the next train down to美濃and buy up their entire supply at a oil paper shop or something like that. But yes, they have come back. They have returned in popularity, and since then
they've had a rebirth.
They've had a rebirth, indeed. They've had a renaissance, something like that. And since that time, they have remained firmly in the public eye as cultural treasures and works of art. So indeed, they are popular now. And of course, even for me, when somebody mentions the word美濃, I think of oil paper umbrellas.
Do you really?
I do. Among other things, I think mangoes are popular down there as well.
Oh.
And of course, Hakka culture. I was down in美濃many years ago, like in the 90s or so, but I don't really remember the place. I remember there being kind of a lake next to a shop that sold oil paper umbrellas, but that's about all I remember.
It's probably time for another trip, Tom. So, if you don't know much about these, check them out. It's a beautiful traditional craft that we have here in Taiwan. Well, we're just about out of time, so we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to say goodbye.
第四题前一句说到 There are also reasons based on the Hakka pronunciation of oil paper umbrella. 客家人不像其他汉人，他们并不忌讳把伞当作礼物送人。还有其他原因跟油纸伞在客家话的发音有关。首先，油纸 在客家话的发音就像油纸，油纸在客家话念作有字，就像呢油纸 U 字，发音非常的相像。那还有一个理由就是第4题的题干，伞这个汉字里面有5个人，所以第4题我们选 C。What's more？ 还有。接着我们看到后面的句子 When these elements are taken together， 以上所说的谐音、游子和伞的字形满满都是人，这些因素一起看 An oil paper umbrella thus conveys wishes for a large family， 油纸伞就因此传达了人丁兴旺的祝福。接着我们看到 At that point, the Taiwanese umbrella industry shifted to the mass production of plastic umbrellas。 请同学把 shifted to the mass production 画起来。台湾的雨伞产业转换到了量产制作塑胶雨伞。However, in 1984, traditional umbrellas received a popularity boost from the TV show The Stars Know My Heart。 请同学把 receive a popularity boost 画起来，意思就是这个传统的油纸伞因为一个电视节目《星星知我心》而大受欢迎。再请同学把后面有一个 feature 这个动词画起来。老师想特别介绍 feature 这个动词。feature 的意思就是以什么为特点。我们有个例句说 My university features well-renowned professors。 我的大学有一项特点，就是我们的教授都是世界知名的。最后我们看到第5题 Since then, they have remained 空格 in the public eye as cultural treasures and works of art。 那自从那之后，油纸伞就在大众的眼中怎么样呢？大众把它们看作是文化的瑰宝以及艺术品。好，我们应该要选哪一个单字来修饰前面 remain 这个动词？答案我们选出 firmly 牢牢的。大众呢牢牢的记住了这个油纸伞。以上就是我们今天的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, please join us again next time for another edition of our program. And indeed, go down to美濃and check out those oil paper umbrellas yourselves. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.